President Trump, over the weekend, posted an AI-generated video of him getting in a Navy jet and dropping presumably tons of sewage on hundreds of thousands, if not millions, of his fellow Americans protesting his presidency during the weekend's No Kings rally.
The president uses social media to make a point. You can argue he's probably the most effective person who's ever used social media for that.
We're going to do something very quickly and easily on beef to get it down. The ranchers understand that.
The ranchers just now being healed. Thank God it's rained out there. We're growing our cattle herd. Thank God that President Trump is protecting and helping our farmers out in so many ways.
They're so happy for what I've done. I saved them. I don't think you'd have any beef in this country if I didn't do that.
What do you have to say to U.S. farmers who feel that the deal is benefiting Argentina more than it is them, as they are
Argentina's fighting for its life, young lady. You don't know anything about it. They're fighting for their life. Nothing's benefiting Argentina. They're fighting for their life. You understand what that means?
He's a drug dealer. The president of Colombia is a drug dealer. We're not going to put up with it much longer. Colombia is very bad. Mexico is run by the cartels. I have great respect for the president, but Mexico is run by the cartels, and we have to defend ourselves from that.
These are designated terrorist organizations, foreign terrorist organizations. Our generation spent the better part of 2 decades hunting Al-Qaeda, hunting ISIS. Well, as the president said, this is the ISIS, this is the Al-Qaeda of the Western Hemisphere. They intimidate, they terrorize, they extort, they poison the American people. The president's right. Every boat we strike is 25,000 Americans whose lives are saved because of the drugs that were headed in our direction.
A man who, I think he's sitting right. Is that Darth? Stand up, please, Darth Vader. Stand up. Does everybody know? They call him Darth Vader. I call him a fine man.
So our message to these foreign terrorist organizations is we will treat you like we have treated Al-Qaeda. We will find you, we will map your networks, we will hunt you down, and we will kill you.
And Mr. President, if you are declaring war against these cartels and Congress is likely to approve of that process, why not just ask for a declaration of war?
Well, I don't think we're going to necessarily ask for a declaration of war. I think we're just going to kill people that are bringing drugs into our country. Okay? We're going to kill them. You know, they're going to be like dead.
What I'm telling you is you can just look back in his own history, that back to 2020, after the election, when he claimed fraud, he claimed it had been stolen from him.
We can never let what happened in the 2020 election happen again. We just can't let that happen.
He and Michael Flynn discussed, and Michael Flynn very publicly talked about, maybe we should use troops and go in and seize the ballot boxes and count the votes. You don't think Donald Trump heard that and thought maybe that's a good idea?
They're not pulling back out. They continue to do it. And this weekend at the No Kings protest, I watched more of the rhetoric. They've lost their minds. And I'm telling you, the bloodshed's not over if we don't address the rhetoric.
Here we are. He's sending troops onto the streets of American cities, into blue states in blue cities, and he's calling it about crime, but that's not at all what it's about.
This now that you are somehow challenging the integrity of the next election.
On the pardon of Changpeng Zhao, and apologies if I'm mispronouncing that name, Binance has significant business interests with World Liberty Financial, the president's family's crypto company. How do you respond to allegations from Democrats that this is a corrupt act?
I would respond and say the president is exercising his constitutional authority.
Can you explain why you chose to pardon him, and did it have anything to do with his involvement in your
Which one?
family's?
Who is that?
The founder of Binance. He has an involvement in your own family's crypto business.
I believe we're talking about the same person, because I do pardon a lot of people. I don't know. He was recommended by a lot of people. A lot of people say that. Are you talking about the crypto person? A lot of people say that he wasn't guilty of anything.
It isn't about fighting crime. He said he's going after the worst of the worst. That is not what they're doing. They are literally going after black and brown people because of the color of their skin.
These strikes against boats near Venezuelan waters, and then the other day, one near Colombia. The president yesterday suggesting that there could be land strikes soon within Venezuela. Some of your colleagues in the Congress have said they haven't really received any kind of justification for these, or at least not adequate explanation or legal justification for these strikes. Do you believe that this is an appropriate use of presidential power? Are you comfortable with what President Trump is doing here?
Look, many presidents have done similar things. We are in a war.
Millions of people being allowed to come into our country, all because of a crooked election, where they come from prisons, they come from jails, they come from mental institutions and insane asylums, they're drug dealers.
We've seen it. All you have to do is go online and look at some of the videos, just to be clear, because I think many people that are listening maybe haven't seen that
You don't
before.
think you're painting with a broad brush of all the ICE agents that are doing their job?
No, we're saying that if you're an ICE agent and you do these things, we think you ought to be held accountable, and yet no one in Washington, no one above them, no supervisor, no inspector general is holding anybody accountable. There literally haven't been any suspensions or firings for the terrible things that they've done.
I didn't have a big view on the mask, but I now understand why they should wear masks. I think it's very dangerous for them not to wear masks. They can do whatever they want.
JB Pritzker could be arrested. Let's talk about your willingness and under what federal authority do you arrest a sitting governor? I understand the supremacy clause. I understand interference with a federal officer. Tell me how it works that he would make himself susceptible to being arrested.
Well, the answer I'm about to give doesn't only apply to Governor Pritzker. It applies to any state official, any local official. If you engage in a criminal conspiracy to obstruct the enforcement of federal immigration laws or to unlawfully order your own police officers or your own officials to try to interfere with ICE officers or even to arrest ICE officers, you're engaged in criminal activity.
If they go even a little bit too far, they get into trouble, which is a shame. I protect them.
To all ICE officers, you have federal immunity in the conduct of your duties. And anybody who lays a hand on you or tries to stop you or tries to obstruct you is committing a felony.
There's a lot of history that has taken place in the East Wing, and it was just destroyed. And yeah, that visual is powerful because you are essentially watching the destruction of the rule of law happen as those walls come down. It is just a symbol about how cavalier he is about every single day acting in new and illegal ways.
Have you raised the full $300 million needed to fund your ballroom? And how much specifically are you donating to this construction project?
I think $350 million. The ballroom. I think there'll be nothing like it, and it's being paid for 100% by me and some friends of mine, donors to it. The government's paying absolutely nothing. We're also working with the military on it because they want to make sure everything's perfect, and the military is very much involved in this. They want to make sure everything is absolutely beautiful. You can see the kind of interiors that we're talking about. That's an interior of the ballroom.
He's found time to bail out a right-wing wannabe dictator in Argentina with $40 billion. He's found time to demolish the East Wing of the White House in the most horrific way possible because he wants to erect a ballroom so he can be celebrated like a king. He's found time for all of these different things, but somehow can't be bothered to reopen the government or can't be bothered to find a dime to extend the Affordable Care Act tax credits.
Let me just say, Mr. President, that this country was going to die without you. This country was going to actually die without you.